Hey, what's up? It's Kristen Grossman. I just had a wonderful time with Mike from Dirt TV and hope you'll watch my episode.
Welcome back to My First Time, the show where our guests get to tell their story of the first time they got high on marijuana. I'm your host, Mike Freeman, and today I'd like to welcome our guest, KRISTEN Grossman. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Mike? I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for coming on Dro TV today. You can find lovely KRISTEN on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We'll have all the links down below. So, KRISTEN, if you could tell everybody a little bit about what you've got going on in the cannabis community and where you're located.
Sure. Yeah, I'm currently in Jacksonville, Florida. So way up at the top, almost Georgia, but still Florida. I've been here a couple years and originally from South Florida in the Hollywood area. Right now, my main focus is with a company called Nature Pay. What we're doing is we're helping dispensaries accept debit cards. So it just kind of improves the whole customer experience. And I've been out there nationwide, a little bit in Florida, but in a lot of other states as well. Just helping dispensaries boost sales and just have that option is a nice thing to be able to provide them with. There's a lot of uncertainty in that field, and it's been nice to just kind of put people at ease and provide them with an option.
Yeah, we certainly need more options when it comes to banking and transactions in the cannabis world. So I definitely want to get more
Yes.
into Nature Pay because I think, especially a lot of our viewers, either small business entrepreneurs or those that need some form of payment processing. So I'm
Right.
curious as well. But the show is my first time, KRISTEN. We want to know about the first time that you got high.
Okay, so I've thought a lot about this since I knew I was coming on here. I remember my first time very well. I started younger than I would recommend. Knowing what I know now, I say 18, maybe even 21. Just wait, because I do have two kids. So in case they ever see this, do as I say, not as I did. But with that being said, my particular group of friends, I was actually one of the last people to try it. Everybody around me was always smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, and I had raging anxiety and depression from the time I was like 10 years old. So I was kind of scared. I was like, I don't want to fuck with whatever's going on in my head. I don't want to make that any worse. And eventually I started to realize that everybody was really enjoying it. Like it was just kind of an experience that I wanted to have myself. Everybody really seemed to be friendlier and nicer and happier when they were smoking. And I was like, you know what, let me just try it. And from what I had remembered from Dare, it was the least harmful of all the drugs. So I was like, hey, let me just give it a try.
Sure.
And I had already, drank alcohol and that kind of stuff. I was, one of those kids, we all experiment. So I tried it. And my friend at the time, one of my friends who I'm still good friends with now, she was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't try it. And I don't really know why, really. She probably thought I was going to get hooked, which she was right. But but I went ahead and I tried it, and my first realization was it was so mellow. It was not this big huge thing where I felt like I was tripping, or like I was just chilling, and I was like, wow. For the first time I felt some relief. My brain kind of calmed down a little bit, and I was like, wow, this is what I've been missing out on. And it only been a couple of years that I was turning it down, but I was like, wow, okay, now I get it. Now I understand what this experience is like. And I was a big fan. And I you know, continued to smoke throughout the rest of my high school years. And it was just a bonding experience really for my friends and I. We were all kind of, going through a hard time in high school. That, we were the kids that hung out in the back alley, and we were all back there smoking up before class. But really looking back, we were self-medicating. We were troubled kids. We were just trying to feel normal. And I remember people saying to me like, "Oh, how can you smoke before this? How can you smoke before this? How can you do that? Like, how are you able to function?" I was like, I feel normal when I smoke. Like, it's hard to explain to somebody that, that where it affects them so much more. But for me, it helped me get through the day, and it was a big part of my life, and still is a big part of my life for ever since. Honestly, I just kind of fell in love with it.
Awesome. Now, do you have a particular strain that you're accustomed to now? Are you a flower girl? Do you like concentrates?
I like it all. Honestly, I don't discriminate. I will try anything as far as cannabis goes. Edibles don't work for me whatsoever. So that's unfortunate, because I've tried so many times. Like, I still won't turn those down either, because I'm thinking maybe this will be the one that I feel, but I just doesn't, something about my body chemistry or something. I have no idea. But so other than that, I like during the day, I like to vape just because it's nice and discreet. But it's key for me to find really good source, really high quality ingredients, because as we all know, that shit gets nasty and weird, and there's all kinds of weird vapes going around. So it's important to me to have a really good quality, pay a little bit more, make sure I'm having a high quality cartridge, and I use that throughout the day. But my first love is flower. What I love the most is flower. I have 2 kids here, so I try not to, smoke them out or get my house filled with smoke. So I can't smoke as much as I would like to, but when I have the chance and some time outside or whatever, I love to just smoke a nice joint or a nice bowl. Growing up, I used to roll blunts like crazy. I was like, the resident blunt roller. So that's always fun here and there. You know what I mean? It's a whole nother vibe.
It comes in handy when, I remember being at a party somewhere and they needed somebody to roll a joint and a blunt, I'm sorry. And I got myself in on that circle, and then I got myself a little bit of whatever was left because I was the only one that could roll up a blunt. So, those
See, exactly. It's
skills
a
come in
good
handy.
skill to have. I got to start putting it on my resume,
I had a friend that could drive and roll a blunt at the same time. So
yes, drive with the knees, and you just kind of, yes, I cannot confirm or deny. I've done, my share of activities while driving.
not recommended,
Learning how
but
to roll
certainly
one
possible.
is, yeah. I mean, once you've made that drive from Miami to Orlando 900,000 times, you can kind of multitask a little bit. This was pre-kids, by the way, pre-kids.
Sure.
But learning how to roll a blunt is like one of my favorite memories. Like the cold beer, cold Corona, wrapping the leaf around the cold Corona, and just, because I learned with the Dutch, old school Dutches,
Yeah.
These days it's like not a thing anymore, but they have a special place in my heart for sure.
Yeah, the green Garcia Vegas was what we were rolling up. Those and the doo-doo brown Dutchies. That was the
yeah. Yeah, the Dutchies, yeah. And then those you could just crack down the middle. That was always nice and easy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good times.
So Nature Pay, we're still hearing rumblings of safe banking acts and
Yes.
possible descheduling, decriminalization, legalization. I think it just keeps getting kicked down the road here. So let's talk a little bit about Nature Pay, because this is one of the biggest things when it comes to any business really in the cannabis industry, is the feds coming in and seizing their bank account. So how did you get linked up with Nature Pay, and what is the company objective?
So I actually met the VP of Nature Pay on a trip to Vegas for MJ BizCon. It was last year.
Okay.
I used to work for a company called Sensi Magazine, and I was out there just networking. We have a big party. They have a big party every year in Vegas. And so I went out there to attend that. And I was trying to sell him an ad originally. I thought that he would be great, great candidate. And during that time, we had a meeting, and him and I just talked and talked and talked. And he told me all about what his company does. And I was fascinated by it because it's not really well known what cannabis businesses options are as far as payment processing, banking, and all of that. And there's a big umbrella of fear that is over everybody. And they're almost even afraid to ask or find out what their options are because they don't want to get shut down. I mean, who wants to get shut down? And a lot of times people are just accepting cash only just by default because they assume they can't get banking or they can't accept debit cards. And, they see stuff in the news or they hear about their friend getting shut down, and all of that stuff is very real and it does happen, but it all has to do with the company that you're with and the company you get signed up with. And this person in particular was telling me about how his company is different. And to be honest, I was not really sure about it at first. I was like, but how are you doing this? How is what you're doing any different than what all these other companies are doing? And once he really explained to me the process about the relationship that we have with the processor and the banks, it all just kind of made sense. And I was like, okay, I can see myself. Well, he slowly recruited me basically over time. We had more and more conversations, and he's just like, I ended up working for the company, and I just believe in the mission. And it's really been a lot of fun getting out there and just connecting with other people in the industry. I started with Sensi, going to events like crazy and really getting to know the community here in Florida. And with this position, I'm speaking to people throughout the country, the states that are at med or rec, and just hearing the issues that they have and being able to help them in any way has been a great experience.
Awesome. Now, are you like, trying to think of the best way to say this. Are you business to business going to businesses, or are you kind of a cold calling sales wise, or what's your strategy, I guess, to acquire new business?
Well, now I'm not above a cold call. It's not my favorite thing to do, but right now, occasionally cold calls are mixed in. Personally, I have a nice network that I developed from working with Sensi, and there's always somebody that knows somebody that's a dispensary owner. And so I've gotten business that way, but also meeting them in person at the events is very helpful because, we're dealing with money and it's personal and it's a little bit scary, and they need somebody they can trust. And it's important to me to meet them face to face, when I can, because it just kind of puts the whole situation at ease. As good as phone calls can be, it's just not quite the same. So luckily, we're kind of post-COVID, not exactly, but we're in a time where I can do that now. And that is my favorite way to obtain new clients and new businesses, and just kind of be able to have them meet whatever team members they can. Sometimes we're all together, which is nice. And just so they know who's going to bat for them, who's going to get them connected, who's going to make sure that their business is running up to par. And it's something we take seriously. So it's nice to be able to convey that in person. So that's my favorite way, but I'll take them from anywhere. Instagram, honestly, and Facebook, I've gotten some business through both of those as well. LinkedIn, of course. So, I love social media in itself. I used to do social media marketing back in the day. I still do it here and there. But it's really nice to be able to cultivate those business relationships through something like social media. It's like, it's still kind of untapped these days in a lot of markets. So it's nice to take part in that. It's something I enjoy quite a bit. And it's how you found me. And, and I was able to,
Yeah.
it's so many connections have come from it, just from me kind of putting myself out there and from these businesses putting themselves out there. And I think it's pretty powerful.
Excellent. Yeah. How's LinkedIn been for leads and networking?
LinkedIn has been awesome. LinkedIn is super cannabis friendly, which is, not very well known. I think people assume that it wouldn't be, just because Facebook kind of hates cannabis in general. Instagram is constantly shutting down cannabis accounts. On LinkedIn, they support us as professionals, and it's still not a category as far as industries go, but we'll take what we can get. It's just nice to have somewhere where all of us can get together, share our thoughts, opinions, ideas, and be accepted, not get shut down because of simply the industry that we're talking about. And it really opened my eyes to how exciting the industry is and how many professionals there really are out there just wanting to make the industry better on a daily basis. They want people to feel more safe and more comfortable doing business in cannabis, because as we all know, there's a ton of roadblocks. And the more that you build your network, the more you're like, okay, well, I have a person for this, I have a person for that, I have a person for this. So then you meet somebody who's just starting and you're like, oh, I know exactly who I can connect you with. I have a person, you need insurance, you need this, you need that. And that's been a blast, just being able to connect with people from all different sectors.
Excellent. How long would you say you've been in this space?
I guess a little over 2 years professionally.
Okay.
So when I started, well, maybe almost 3 at this point. The first actual cannabis business I started working with was Sensi. And I just wanted to see what it was like. It was kind of like a dream for me. It was like a wish. I'm like, maybe one day I can work in cannabis and actually get paid to work with something related to it. And it was like a pipe dream. I didn't really think it was going to happen. And then I connected with them, and it was just a crazy experience. It was awesome. It was just so cool to get to connect with these people who, and me, I honestly didn't think anybody would be that professional. That, having never worked in cannabis, I'm thinking, like anybody else thinks, that it's going to be a little bit different than any other industry, but in a negative way. Honestly, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe people wouldn't take it as seriously. Maybe people wouldn't be as focused. Maybe people would be just not on their A game. And I was proven wrong immediately. And that was really exciting for me, because I'm like, wow, this can be a real career. There's people out there that really do want to get to the top in their specific industries. And that was really exciting for me. And being in that position, I was also helping businesses just advertise, get their names out there. And that's also another thing that's really difficult for cannabis businesses in general, because there's all these regulations on marketing and even social media marketing. It's tough. And what's cool about it is we're all kind of in the same boat. We all kind of understand that it's going to be hard, and yet we still stay in it. We still continue to keep going, because most of the people I know, it's for a personal reason. It's something that's near and dear to their heart. Nobody just randomly decides to get into this industry. It's always some pretty cool story or some pretty cool reason as to why they're doing it. And so they don't give up easily. And I respect that. And as far as the marketing side of it, that's just another way for me to help these businesses, whether they're just starting out or they just need a little more exposure. I'm happy to use the skills that I've developed to get them to where they need to be. And it's just a blast. I just love it, honestly. I'm excited to see where it goes and just keep growing it.
Yeah, great. It is one of those industries where it's very new. So every day there's new things happening, and because it's not legal here and there's more regulations here, and in this state you can get away with doing other things that you can't across this line. Yeah, I think it's one of those industries where we know it's only going to get bigger, but at what pace, and
Right.
what opportunities are out there that we don't even know yet because something hasn't had that spark to get going because of the powers that be, the regulations or whatever it is that's standing in the way. So it's exciting to be a part of it. And like yourself, I didn't think when we first came up with the idea for this show that we would have so many people respond to coming on talking about the first time they got high. So
I debated. I was like, man, I don't know, is that unprofessional? But you know what? This is a different industry. We all had a first time. And I think being open and honest and not hiding is one of the best parts about working in this industry.
sure.
It's like, up until I was in this business, I had to either take jobs that didn't drug test, or I had to use other ways to pass a drug test. And it made me feel like weird and like a criminal or something. And I hated it, so us all being able to just be open, that was a big step for me as well. Being a parent, it wasn't until I became a patient that I felt comfortable being open and being in public about my cannabis use, because there's still that stigma out there, and it's just there was risks involved, and there still is from time to time. There's still states that aren't even anywhere close to having medical passed, and we have a long road ahead of us, but it's really nice to be on the road. It's been so fun to just watch the changes since I've started.
Sure. We met someone recently at a festival. She has a pretty good sized company. She's very has a good sized presence online as well. And I was telling her about the program, and I said, I think you probably want to go on the Cannabis show. I don't think you want to come on a show and talk about your first time. She said, hell yes, I want to come on there. So I haven't been able to line that up yet. So I'm not gonna put her on blast just yet, but I just haven't been able to get it set up. But nonetheless, I'm still working on it. I will persevere, but especially on LinkedIn, all the business professionals on there, and which there are mostly. If you're on LinkedIn, you're a business professional, but the people that are posting the content they do talking about psychedelics and plant medicine, it's pretty awesome. And I think LinkedIn is a great platform. And if you're watching this and you consider yourself a business professional and you're not on LinkedIn, you should definitely consider getting on there.
Yes, I second that for sure. You'll be amazed at the openness. There's people, videos of them with weed, holding weed, smoking in some cases, and it's completely tolerated, if not encouraged. So it's a great way to connect with other people in your field or in the cannabis industry in general.
Well, LinkedIn also has a content deficiency. So they have like 800 million daily users, but only 3 million daily posts. So if you're a content creator as well, and you think you have something to provide to the business professionals on LinkedIn, I would certainly, that's one of the things we're doing, is trying to shift our focus more towards LinkedIn. We're still going to be active on Instagram and Twitter, but I could probably take something designed specifically for LinkedIn and just post it on Instagram. So
that's the beauty of video, right? Once you have it, you can just put it where you want. That's a great idea. I think that'll work well for you.
Awesome.
I'm excited to see more of you on LinkedIn. That'll be nice.
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much, but we're working on it. We're working on it. We've got a plan and a strategy, and we're working on building up Dro TV on LinkedIn. So yeah,
nice.
Hopefully we'll be making the presence on there. I think with our Cannabis show and some clips like this one here with yourself, Kristen, I think these would be good clips to post on LinkedIn as well. So
Yeah, clips would be great. And people would love to see that sort of thing on LinkedIn. I think it would be well received for sure. I watched your 200th episode today and I heard that you were going to change things up a little bit. So I'm excited to watch.
Yeah, I don't like stagnation, so we're switching up. We've got a brand new intro song to the show now, so shout outs to
Oh,
my homie
nice. Okay.
MDOT. We have brand new graphic intro, and we have a lot of content coming out that's going to be a lot different from what we've done this past year. We've kind of figured out, I think, the formulas that work, what takes a lot of time, and what we want to focus on. So this year we're going to have a lot of different content. I built a garden in the last several months, and I'm starting
I've heard. Yes, you got to
put
give me a
more.
tour one day. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So I think I'm gonna, whether it's starting a second channel or just post more garden stuff. I think that's something that it seems to be when we post stuff about the garden, a lot of people react to it. So
Yeah, and like you had said, it all kind of relates. You know, we obviously all believe in the power of plants and the beauty of watching something grow from the ground and being able to utilize it. And so you know, just kind of makes sense for you to grow all those fruits and vegetables, especially in Florida. You know, all this sunshine, you might as well use some of it, you know?
hey, it's like a waste. It's a waste not to. Plus, I don't have to mow
Yeah,
my lawn anymore. My lawn's now a full garden, so it's a
that's
win-win.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. Who needs grass? I mean, seriously.
So do you still do any kind of work for like SEO and marketing when it comes to cannabis businesses?
I do. I do. I was working, I still am working in the coffee business a little bit. But for marketing in general, you know, for small business owners, I have little packages that I can do where I can basically build a site for you, set up all your social media channels, and just kind of get you going. Or if you're already established, I can do SEO on your website and just tweak it, make the little tweaks that need to be made so we can get more traffic to your website and do it in a way specifically for your cannabis product so you get exactly the traffic that you want. And that's something that I'm always willing to talk to somebody who's interested in something like that. We can figure out a package that works for you and where you're at, what your needs are.
Awesome. Well, Kristen, let everybody know where they can follow you and find more of you. So if they want some of this information, that they can reach right out to you.
Yes, 420.klg on Instagram, and on LinkedIn, it's Kristen L. Grossman, and on Facebook as well, Kristen Grossman. So feel free to reach out, add me, follow me, all that good stuff. I'm more than happy to have a conversation, and I'm happy to hear whatever I can do to help in any way, even if you just need a connection to somebody in a different part of this industry. I'm more than happy to make that connection for you.
Awesome. And if you like great content like this, make sure you go down and subscribe to Dro TV and like this episode. Leave a comment. What do you think about some of Kristen's suggestions on LinkedIn and some different SEO and marketing? If you're a small business, you need your website redone, or you're kind of all over the place and you need your social media facelift, Kristen's the one for you. So thank you,
Yes,
Kristen.
I'm happy to do it.
Thanks for coming on the show today. All the links will be in the description below. Thank you much for coming on and being a great guest. And as always,
thank you for having me.
you're welcome. Smoke them if you got them.